Welcome back to the second episode of 5 of storytelling games for the month of October. In today's episode I'll be looking at Fairy Tales. Telltale Fairy Tales. It's a card game, and I'll take a look at that and see what ideas for game design and inspirations I can get from it. See you on the other side. I've already opened this once, so I removed the protective layer on the cards. Couple dragons here, huh? Princess escaping. Elf. The end. Giant meatstock. Heart. Oh, that's a neat one. Oh, that's unfortunate. If the, yeah, anyway. So these are fairly basic illustrations that allow you to interpret them in a number of ways and tell what you want from them to be used in the story. Alright, and so they say there are like 4 ways of, you get the little instructions here. There are 4 different methods they suggest for playing. The storyboard, a round and round, showtime, and the stack. Okay, so basically the first round of these is taking 6 cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, and deciding which sides of them to use, and just constructing a story and you can adjust the size and position, or adjust the position of the cards to tell the story you want to tell, and that's really all there is to it. And then the next person goes on their turn. Round and round is 4 cards instead of 6, and a player puts 1 card down, and then the next player puts 1 of their 4 cards down, and you keep going around until you've used up the cards. Showtime is again 6 cards. And it says don't peek and put them face down, which that's a little hard to do. One beginner begins a story and flips out the first card and continues flipping cards to add on to the story until all 6 cards have been used. The next player begins a new story, and so on. And then the stack is a stack of 24 cards, and the first player takes 1 card, begins the story. Players take turns picking 1 card from the stack and adding to the story until there are no cards that remain. And that's just kind of it. So I'll take a look at these as ideas for other types of games that we can play with them, or a new game design. Alright. Telltale Fairy Tales. It's pretty rudimentary, and I find it interesting that I can kind of understand where it's meant for younger children in a lot of ways, as the designers focused less on competition and made it a sort of a cooperative game. But I think it suffers in that sense that there's no sense of challenge to overcome or a sense of victory necessarily. You either tell a story with your cards or you don't. There's no consequence to not succeeding. But having said that, I do like some of the aspects of this. The cards are very, very, very vague. But I would say maybe a 4.6 out of a 5.1. As for ideas that it inspires, it's a role-playing game where the one player plays the DM and they start to tell a story to which the other players role-play their responses as characters. And you try to progress towards a success or a failure in the mission, and then switch over and one of the other players plays the DM for the one who played the DM last turn. And you just kind of play along those lines, and the goal is to make a challenge difficult enough that the players struggle to resolve the storyline. Okay, so this is sort of like a judging game. This is Urban Legends. Somebody lays down a card, and it's the prompt that people have to come up with an urban legend for. And they use their cards to create the urban legend, and the judge picks the one that's the best legend. I call this one Tavern Tales. Everybody uses some of their cards from their hand to start spelling out a tavern tale. Like everybody's walked into a bar and they're hearing stories being told in the tavern. And one of the stories gets picked by the entire table as to be the one that they want to resolve. You can't vote for your own, so one of them's likely to be more picked than all the others, and so that becomes the one that they all go on the adventure to resolve, and that player who bid the tavern tale, he or she becomes judge, and the others have to work towards resolving that story. Now, an extra twist on this one is that the other players can team up together to form a party, and a party can also collectively complete a tale, but in doing so, they split the point value for the victory, whereas an individual player going solo gets all the points if they win, but they might have a decreased chance of winning. Gossip Monger. Somebody proposes a character or an actor or a politician, and the entire table has to sort of use their cards to try and make up gossip topics about the character or person. Okay, this one's sort of like a game of Scrabble, where you lay out the story cards or tiles that you have to tell a story, and then you draw more cards, and then the other player's turn comes along, and they can play off any one of the cards you put down or more, and use them to generate a story. And if they can get a longer string by including yours and as many of their cards as possible, they get more points. Before and after is this game. And this one is essentially dealing with the fact that this set of cards is double-sided, and there's one image that you could use on one side or a different image on the other side, and you're supposed to pick a side and use that in your storytelling. My thought says half the fun in something like this is taking a card off and starting to tell a story about the side that's face up, and then flip it, and you have to tell a story about how you got from side A to side B, how you got from the before to the after. Alright, so those are the ideas I got from this. Hopefully there's some inspiration in there for some ideas for game designs out there. I'll see you for the next one. Take care.